Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim, he's AC, we got Bruce Blitz here today.
Yo.
This is the Cash Killing, or the NFL Final Score on the Cash Killing AC Sports Network.
Yeah, guys, check it out, man. If you aren't subscribed to these guys yet, man, you better follow them, you better subscribe to them, be loyal to them. These are young, up-and-coming talents. You're going to see them doing big things in the future. Support them like you would your mother.
Alright, yesterday we basically recapped all the Sunday night, or the Sunday NFL games. Now we're basically going to give you the Sunday night game, which was a huge game. Falcons end up on top 35-21. AC, can you basically give us a summary of this game?
Yes, I can. I mean, the first half was basically back and forth with turnovers. It was a pretty messy half of football. But it just kept going back and forth. Nobody really seemed to have the edge. Third quarter, the Eagles started putting stuff together, started running the ball fairly well. Vick was looking pretty good for a while. Then, at the end of the third quarter, he gets injured. Not a whole lot you could do about it. He ran into Todd Harriman's, his right tackle, knocked his head up against him, and left the game with concussion-like symptoms, they said. And apparently there's no timetable on his return.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second, but keep going in on that fourth quarter.
Basically, the fourth quarter, the Falcons scored at the beginning of the fourth quarter. It was 31-28, and the Eagles had the ball mid-fourth quarter. They were running the ball well. They were eating up a lot of clock. Just playing some good end-of-game football, I guess you could say. And then Andy Reid, in Andy Reid fashion, abandons the run at the weirdest time, starts throwing the ball with Mike Kafka, who actually didn't look too bad, and they got into a third and 6 situation, I think it was, and then they finally ran the ball, gained like 2 yards, then they got a 4th and 4, threw it to Macklin, nice bullet pass right in his breadbasket, and he basically dropped it, and that was the game from there. Deshaun Jackson tried to return a punt after the Falcons kneeled down 3 times. He tried to return a punt for a touchdown in the fashion that he did it against New York last year at the Meadowlands, but that didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, that was basically a lucky punt return. It was nice and everything, but that's not going to happen every game, nor are you going to have some Matt Dodge punting you the ball every time. I mean, I am just disgusted by this. I honestly fell asleep during this game, but it was a great game from the parts I saw. I thought, well, I mean, Michael Vick looks good, and I said on the prediction show on Friday, on paper, I thought the Falcons would beat the Eagles, but I didn't think that there was any way Michael Vick was going to lose to the Falcons in the Georgia Dome, and I thought it benefited them. I thought Matt Ryan hasn't really stepped up in the big game like he's had to, and all those things basically went out the door, especially when Michael Vick got injured. Bruce, what did you think?
Yeah, I tell you what, man, I'm sure there's a lot of criticism out there of Michael Vick right now, and there's a lot of people that were predicting he'd get hurt. Let's get one thing straight. He did not get hurt in the fashion that people were predicting. This was a fluke injury. He will be back. And yes, we can talk about Michael Vick's turnovers. He had the interception. He had the 2 lost fumbles. But let's not sell the Atlanta Falcons defense short. They've got a pretty good defense. And Matt Ryan had 2 interceptions himself. Michael Vick, man, I mean, before he got hurt, he was 19 of 28, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 2 lost fumbles. I mean, he was playing a good game. And you guys got some hope, man. This Kafka that came in, this Mike Kafka, looked pretty good. He made some good throws. He stood tall in the pocket. He threw the ball where it needed to be. He was hitting guys in stride. And let's say it, man, the real go of this game is Jeremy Macklin for dropping that pass, that 4th down conversion attempt. He had the ball right in his hands. He was past the sticks. They would have got the 1st down, and they would have had a chance to win. But Macklin dropped the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's really a shame, too, because looking at his stats, he had 13 catches for 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was having a huge game in a game where, as usual in the clutch, Deshaun Jackson seemed to disappear. I mean, I just don't understand how you couldn't catch it. He had it in his hands. There was no one who was right over top of him like he was going to get completely drilled. and he just drops the ball. I don't get it. I also don't understand why you bring in a quarterback who was like a 6th-round pick a year ago. I mean, he looked good, but why don't you keep running the ball? I know LaShawn McCoy had an injury earlier in the game, and if that's the issue, then bring in Deion Lewis or Ronnie Brown and have them run the ball. Whatever you need to do. But as usual, Andy Reid, I almost think it's like an issue here where he thinks, well, Vick's out. I already proved Vick, so let me prove another quarterback to prove how valuable I am to this team. And he proved the quarterback, and he lost the game because he basically did the same things that he has been criticized here for 12 years. I'm quite frankly sick of seeing it.
Well, you know something else, man, before you get going, AC? Here's the thing, man, okay? I don't think it's Andy Reid trying to prove that Kafka is going to be his next protege. I think it's that Andy Reid is afraid to commit to the run. He wants to gain yards in big chunks. All right, he looks at the run game as, well, an alternative option to what he wants to do. He's never been committed to the run. Okay, not to the degree. Now, to compare and contrast, I talked to you guys about this before this show. Mike Martz, in the second half of the Bears game, a 2-score game, threw the ball 29 times and had 2 runs. There's a philosophy change in the NFL right now where a lot of teams are real pass-heavy. And I can kind of empathize with Andy Reid thinking he has to go to a more pass-happy offense under these current rules where it's easier for these quarterbacks to put up these ridiculous games that we're seeing now. But still, you're bringing in a young quarterback, stay committed to the run. But I don't think that was the issue. I think the issue was Jeremy Maclin has to catch that ball, AC, period.
Oh, there's no question about that. I mean, I didn't think they should have been in that 4th and 4 in the first place, but, you know, once they got there, and Maclin just straight dropped it. I mean, there was no, he messed up. He messed up on that play, and it cost them the game. My thing with Andy Reid, though, is why abandon something that's working? And he does it constantly. The run was working, they were gaining yards, they were, eating up clock to not leave the Falcons any time. They were down at the Falcons' like 40-yard line, and most of that was running the ball, and he just abandoned it, and I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't ever get Andy Reid, and I can sit here and talk about it for 20 minutes, but I feel like I'm wasting my breath doing it because A, YouTube screwed me over and won't let me make 20-minute videos, and B, it's the same story. Nothing's going to change. Andy Reid got commended. He has a pretty decent GM in certain respects, and then he's awful in other things in terms of getting linebackers and getting an offensive line. And you would think a fat guy would be good at doing that, but... okay. With Michael Vick, I think he's for sure out next week. With the concussion, with the way the NFL looks at concussions, he's probably for sure out next week, and who knows from there. In terms of him versus Vince Young in the offseason had trouble getting with the playbook. He had, and he missed the first 2 weeks with injuries. All that being said, in the preseason he actually did play pretty well. But I'm going to go with what I've heard and what I've seen, and I'm going to say that I'd rather see Mike Kafka out there because he showed up in this game and he proved it. And if Mike Kafka doesn't work out, fine. Then bring Vince Young in. And this is all assuming Vince Young's healthy. If not, they'll have to go out and sign another quarterback for this week. But I'd rather see Mike Kafka out there.
Well, I got to say something else, man. Trent Cole, Colin Jenkins, and Jason Babin got some good pressure on the quarterback. They 4 sacks between those guys. I thought that the Eagles' pass defense looked pretty good. But here's the thing, guys. The Eagles held Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons offense to 6.4 yards per pass attempt. They gave up 4.8 yards per rush. They need to shore up that run defense. They gave up 138 yards. Okay, I'll hand it to them. All right, they only gave up 5 rushing first downs. They gave up 14 passing first downs. But legitimately, they did kind of keep it in check. And you guys got to shore up that red zone defense when it pertains to the secondary. They should have held Matt Ryan down, man. 4 touchdowns. Yeah. I think there's some holes there in that defense. I'm sure it's still a work in progress. When you add pieces in like they have, it's going to be a work in progress. But we can't just focus on the offense here. That defense needs to step up to the plate, live up to the billing, you know. And if you are the dream team, which that team's got a lot of talent, they should be able to step up and do it. And I think they can. So there are some issues. There's some fundamental issues with the Eagles. And it isn't just that Michael Vick got hurt.
No, it isn't, and I think we could have had this same conversation 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and we would have been talking about the same exact problems that we were having then. It didn't matter if McNabb was a quarterback, it didn't matter if Michael Vick's a quarterback, Kevin Cobb, anyone who's been in here, it hasn't mattered because they don't run the ball, they don't get linebackers, and they did have a good offensive line when they had John Runyon, so we'll throw that out, and we'll replace it with the fact that they never got Donovan McNabb, good receivers with the exception of 1 year with T.O. We'll throw that out, and Kevin Curtis does not count for the record. Now, as far as Kafka versus Young, AC, who would you take in that case?
My starter for next week, if Vick is unable to go, which we are assuming he is not going to be available, my starter is Kafka. But he's on a short leash for me.
Yeah.
Because Vince Young is an explosive guy, and I think he fits better into this offense. We've heard about the issues. He doesn't know the plays yet. It's a tough system to learn. But I think that he's a good enough player, enough talented player, that he can pick it up and run with it and make some big plays. I think he's a better suited for the fast, explosive offense that the Eagles have. But Kafka did a good job, so he's my starter next week, but he's got a short leash.
I honestly think the issue more with Vince Young is his commitment, as it has always been in his career, rather than this is a tough playbook to learn or anything like that. I think it's how committed he really is to doing this or just living it up and being on the dream team. And I am so sick of hearing that. I walked into my one class this morning and one of the bandwagon Cowboys fans, oh, what happened to the dream team? He's bragging that they beat the 69ers. I mean, I don't get people sometimes. Now, I had people asking me today, where can I get a Mike Kafka jersey? Let's make Kafka the quarterback over Michael Vick. Now, go back in the history of our videos, or go to our channel and look at the most viewed videos. Go down, 4 or 5 videos. I can look that up right as we speak right now. Somewhere like that, 4 or 5 videos. There's a video called, Does Kevin Cobb Suck? Time for Vick. And it was basically the same exact debate we're having now. Kevin Cobb, I think, long-term would have been a better solution for this team. I said that then, and I stick with that now, because I don't think Michael Vick's style is going to work to win a Super Bowl, because I think a defense will figure him out at some point in the playoffs. But the problem at that point was Kevin Cobb couldn't start going because he didn't have time because the offensive line was so bad. A year later, we draft a 26-year-old rookie, and Michael Vick's running for his life, and he can do that. Mike Kafka isn't going to be able to do that for 4 quarters, for 16 games, and hopefully for 19 games. That's not going to happen. So the people saying this just need to stop talking, because it's not going to happen. Mike Kafka is not the one who's just signed an $100 million contract.
All right, guys, what's the injury report on Vince Young?
I'm not exactly sure.
If Vince Young is healthy, okay, I'm not starting him. I'm starting Kafka because Kafka showed the ability to move the ball, all right? And you're going against that New York Giants defense. And the New York Giants defense is a little banged up, but they still got a good chance to get some pressure on whoever you start at quarterback. So I would go with Kafka, and like you said, he's got to be on a short leash. So, yeah, you got to put Kafka in there. And to the people saying, let's pull Michael Vick, and it sounds, Tim, like you might be one of those, I'd say give the guy a chance, man.
No, I'm not one of those, no.
Okay, all right, give the guy a chance. I mean, he's obviously shown the ability that he can lead this team. Can he lead him to a Super Bowl? I don't know, but I don't think Kafka can, but that remains to be seen.
No, I don't think Kafka can. I do think Kevin Cobb could have, long term. But my point was, back then last year, we were like, oh, we're willing to take a year off, let Kevin Cobb adjust and get everything down, and then next year we'll go for it. Half a quarter into the season, oh, Michael Vick's here, let's just put him at quarterback because he's fun to watch, and I love Michael Vick, and I think he could win a Super Bowl. I just don't think he will because I don't think he's going to be able to hold up the style he's at.